Welcome back. I'm Julia Vella with your Focus on Sports. The Fresno State volleyball team is in first place right now. They beat number 1 New Mexico this past weekend. It was a 3-set sweep, but not a gimme. The first set was hard-fought with 5 ties and 3 changes. Both the first and second sets ended with a close score of 25-22. The Dogs closed the match with a score of 25-17 in the third set. Fresno State's 6-1 Mountain West record is the best start they've had since joining the conference in 2012. The Dogs are on the road for the next 2 weeks, but you can watch their games live on the Mountain West Network. Fresno State football is now 2-0 in conference play after a big 27-3 victory over the Wyoming Cowboys. Senior quarterback Marcus McMarion accounted for 4 total touchdowns Saturday night, 2 passing and 2 rushing. Tight end Jared Rice had a career-high 7 receptions and caught a touchdown pass. Bulldog defense was also on fire. They limited Wyoming to 221 total yards and forced 1 turnover. The Dogs are looking for their 3rd conference win this Saturday in New Mexico. You can watch the game at 4:30 on ESPNU. It was all Dogs tonight as the Fresno State women's basketball team brought in yet another win. The Dogs remain undefeated at home and moved to a 6-3 record overall. This was the 3rd straight game where the Dogs hit 80 points. We are 6 days away from the midterm election. It's next Tuesday and it's big. It could change the power of Congress. It could also affect something as simple as the price of eggs. Here to remind us why our votes count is political science professor Dr. Lisa Bryant. Thanks for being here, Dr. Bryant.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So what advice do you have for new voters?
I would say probably the biggest thing for new voters to do, if you've never voted before, is familiarize yourself with what's going to be on the ballot. And so there are a couple easy ways to do that. You know, it can be overwhelming to get in the voting booth and see this long ballot and not know what everything is. So one nonpartisan website that students can go to is votersedge.org. And that's a nonpartisan website by the League of Women Voters. And you put your address in, and it will literally tell you every candidate that's going to be on the ballot, every ballot proposition, every ballot measure, so you can review them. And then it gives you sort of pros and cons about the different issues so people can have an informed decision.
Oh, wow, that sounds very convenient for new voters to get a lot of information.
Everything's sort of right there in one package. It's nice.
A familiar sound to the Red Wavers inside the Save Mart Center over the last few years. The senior has played in every game since transferring to Fresno State.
Deshaun is one of those players that you love to have on your team, but you hate to play against.
Entering his senior season, Deshaun was picked to the All-Mountain West first team and All-Mountain West defensive team after having his best collegiate season. Stephen Tremblay says that is exactly the type of player Taylor has been since he got to Fresno State.
When Deshaun came here in 2015, he's a guy that has always brought it every day, especially on the floor. And he was a big reason why we won the 2016 Mountain West Championship.
But where does he get that never-quit work ethic from? Taylor says his family and his upbringing drove him to be better than others said he could be.
Where I'm from, Riverside, my dad and mom, kind of always being an underdog, so you always got to go out there and prove yourself. So that's kind of what I live by, prove yourself.
Taylor decided to play his freshman year at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, a dream and goal he says he knew he always could achieve.
I knew I was always good enough to play in this environment, this kind of conference, and I just worked my butt off to get here, so I just basically had to prove everybody wrong.
And prove them wrong he did. Deshaun Taylor is now back in California representing the Valley here in the Save Mart Center as one of the best guards in the nation. So far this year, Taylor is averaging 19.3 points and 5 assists per game, good enough for first on the team in both categories. But his leadership doesn't just stop on the court.
And try to just lead the younger guys, lead the younger generation, that anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
To have someone like Deshaun who performs well on and off the floor is a big deal for our young guys.
Being one of 3 seniors on the team and one of the only returning starters from last year, all eyes will be on Taylor, a feeling he says he is more than okay with. The Dogs will hit the road to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils December 20th, but make sure you make it back here to the Save Mart Center December 29th for a doubleheader. The women's team will take on hometown rival Fresno Pacific, and the men's team will face Utah Valley. For tickets, call 278-DOGS or visit GoBulldogs.com. Reporting for Fresno State Athletics, I'm Julia Vella.